you ever wonder what is going on with Dalaran? Is it still chilling around on the Broken Isles? Or what is going on with Argus after we left and defeated the World Soul? Well, luckily, despite not having an official book, we have discovered a ton of info on what is currently going on with the Broken Isles. Interesting enough, it is a mainly Horde-controlled area with one of the last remaining Night Elven sanctuaries on Azeroth that is still standing. We know there have been some changes to the city of Suramar. Thunder Totem became a pretty significant Horde city. A lot of the threats from Legion have obviously been removed, and with the recent time skip, the Broken Isles are completely different than they were back in the day. So what is going on with the Broken Isles and what are they like today? Let's cover every single hint that we have. Going into the Broken Isles was a massive expedition, but you can start an even bigger one today with World of Warships, this video sponsor, and you can get an exclusive starter pack with my link in the description. World of Warships is a free-to-play game with team-based sea battles with more than 500 historical ships across 11 different nations. You got everything from destroyers to aircraft carriers, and not only can you customize your own ships, but you can take them to battles across unique and beautiful maps. So it's literally never been a better time to start. If you use my link below, all new players that start now will get an amazing pack that's worth 25 euros. So 500 doubloons, 7 days premium, 2 million credits, a tier 4 ship, and a 6 skilled points commander. So become a ship commander today. While the Broken Isles are a relatively recently introduced zone, when you think about it, it isn't even that recent. I mean, it's been over 7 years. However, in-game and with the recent 5-year time skip, over 10 years have actually passed, and so many things have changed over that time period that it is ridiculous. It isn't even the same place. First of all, and the most important change that happened was that we defeated the Legion, and they have been gone with Sargeras in prison for quite a few years now, and that in itself has reshaped the Broken Isles, as every single pore of these zones was infiltrated by the demons, and now they're gone, and that just changes things drastically. Now, what is important to keep in mind is that unlike the books that we had gotten exploring Azeroth, exploring Kalimdor and such, there hasn't actually been any sort of an official book that gave us follows up on like what is going on with the zones, but that doesn't mean that we don't have any sort of information, that this is just speculation. We have actually gathered a ton of different hints about these little places, some zones, some characters, so we have a general idea on what is actually going on, and I want to go zone by zone and also cover some general hints on all the Broken Isles updated. What is really interesting and something that a lot of people haven't actually thought about is that the Broken Isles are actually a mainly Horde controlled area. Like I'd say Horde controls like 80% of the Isles with these new allied races, even though back in the day both factions were there, they were equally present. First the Highmountain Doran joined, then the Nightborne, and these are actually now major Horde capitals. The only zone where the Alliance has significant presence is Val'Sharah, one of the remaining places where the Night Elves live. There are also some Gilneans there as well, but this isn't really any sort of a significant settlement whatsoever. Keep in mind, Suramar and Highmountain are actually pretty active zones. I mean, these are not just like some leftover places where we left like a skeleton crew. I mean, this is literally the home of the Nightborne, the Highmountain Tauren, actual Horde races, and despite not being relevant at the moment in any way, they should actually be quite akin to Orgrimmar or Undercity, and we even have confirmations that they are indeed pretty big cities. All being equal though, the Horde and Alliance presence apart from these allied races is in no way as big as it was when we were there during Legion. I mean, keep in mind, we were fighting Sargeras. We brought pretty much every single piece of equipment, every little bit of manpower we got in order to defeat the Legion. We dragged all that to the Broken Isles, and obviously, I mean, the Legion is gone now, so as far as we know, the factions almost certainly maintain a symbolic presence, some outposts, probably akin to Northrend, but I'm guessing especially with BFA, they got most of the garrisons out there as they needed them for the faction war. Additionally, the Naga were also a pretty big threat in Legion as well, and we know they were brought back by Queen Ashara, so that big threat should be mainly eliminated. However, let us actually go just zone by zone, examine every little single hint that we have on what the Broken Isles are nearly 10 years later. So, starting with Val'Sharah, this is actually one of the most well-documented zones that we have. As far as we know, the corruption of Shadrasil is irreversible, and we only really stopped the nightmare, but there are no indications that we can actually revive the tree or make it like some sort of a new Nordrasil. After the burning of Teldrassil, it was said that Val'Sharah as a zone, especially the Temple of Elune, are among the few remaining Night Elven communities on all of Azeroth. We also know that the Night Elves of the Temple have actually established active trade ties with the neighboring Gilnean village of Brandonsbrook, and they have been sending and receiving supplies via ships. We know for a fact that Xavius and the Satyrs were defeated, and as far as we're aware, almost all of the Nightmare threat should have been mainly wiped out, although there could potentially be some remnants. Additionally, the Dreams Grove Order Hold could become relevant again because, as far as we know, it is connected intrinsically with a lot of the Emerald Dream related zones. As far as we know, Emerald Dream is going to be a significant part of 10.2, more than certainly, as well with the New World 3, Night Elven rebuilding is going on, so we could see something happening with this old Order Hall and these Broken Isles Night Elves. Now, in regards to Highmountain, as I said, most of it is actually quite relevant, and this is a genuine Horde zone. It was confirmed that following the Legion's defeat, parts of the city were turned into a small Horde capital that even included Pandaren monk trainers. We know that Myla helped the Horde to join the Horde. She's been relevant ever since, even as far as Dragonfight, and she's even a part of the Horde Council. As you may be aware, the Highmountain Tauren are a significant part of Dragonfight and its storyline, especially with Aberhorn, who is essentially a main character, so he's definitely here. In regards to that Blood Totem tribe, as far as we know, most of them were wiped out, if not all of them. I mean, those were the guys that joined the Legion, and those that didn't choose to join the Legion have actually settled at Thunder Totem and have joined us. Now, Neltharian's Lair has been relevant since Legion in BFA, as we used it to empower the Heart of Azeroth, and seeing that this is literally where Neltharion became Deathwing and he's a significant part of Dragonflight, we could potentially see something with this happening. Additionally, as far as we know, the Unseen Path, the Order Hall for Rangers, Hunters, Beastmasters, is still active and running. Next on the line, there is the unfortunate Heart of the Isles, and that is the Broken Shore, and we do have some really interesting info. First of all, the Tome of Sargeras has stopped glowing fell green after the defeat of the demons. We also know that Arcturus was moved from the Broken Shore. It is no longer there. There is no actual Death Knight presence as far as we know. Overall though, the entire place is without a doubt still a mess. I mean, while there may have been some rebuilding efforts, I just think this place is gone. I mean, it will never be what it once was, like all those thousands of years ago. I mean, it was just completely scorched time and time again. Additionally, I mean, obviously all those Legion ships and forces are gone from the Broken Shore, so it should be clear from demons, unless we got a few maybe remaining. Furthermore, the most interesting thing is Dalaran, that is technically close to the Broken Shore. There has actually been no official update on its location, so as far as we know, it is still chilling above the Broken Isles, more than likely just monitoring activities. And when you think about it, it is sort of in a good location, like in the middle of Azeroth, so we can kind of go anywhere. Now, it definitely isn't as active as it once was. I mean, a lot of the important characters left, but Dalaran is still a pretty big city and quite relevant as well. However, I do feel like we could see it moving somewhere else. I mean, if we get an Eastern Kingdoms expansion, it might finally go back to the ground where it belongs. Next on the line, we have Stormheim, and this is the least documented zone, but there is some info that we have. We know the Calls of Elder remains relevant. We had the Val'Sharah helping us gather Azerite in BFA, and Odin was also relevant in Shadowlands, and he may even be relevant in Dragonflight. We also know that the demon-affiliated Rykel have been defeated. Interestingly enough, we don't know the actual whereabouts of Helia right now. I mean, she was working with the Jailer 200 IQ mastermind back in Shadowlands, and she was actually banished from the Maw back into Helheim by Primus in Shadowlands. So as far as we know, she's still around Stormheim and probably still haunting the lands. Now, next we have probably the most interesting zone, the most beautiful one, and that is Suramar. As far as you all know, the Nightborne joined the Horde, so this is now a Horde zone, and we were told that the city has been completely pacified and cleansed and became a significant Horde capital. Since the Legion has been gone, Talesra not only maintained positive relations with the Blood Elves, and she turned Suramar into second Silver Moon, but she also married Lortimer, essentially uniting the Blood Elves and the Nightborne. Since the time skip, everything should have been rebuilt and back to normal, and as we know, Suramar is a pretty large city, but now it should be even bigger, and it should essentially be like a second Silver Moon, even though, I mean, Silver Moon currently looks like an Atari game when compared to actual Suramar. In regards to Asuna, as far as we know, the Naga have been mainly driven out. The Vault of the Wardens has almost certainly been abandoned, despite once being a prestigious place, and we know the Wardens have been quite relevant in the war after the burning of Teldrassil. Also, the Azure-winged Blue Dragons from Asuna have been super relevant recently in Dragonfight, as they had returned to the Dragon Isles, they had helped Kalecgos, and they played a really significant role in the recent questlines, and you guys have seen them all over the place. So, despite not much happening to Asuna, we know characters from Asuna are relevant. Lastly, a zone that isn't technically a part of the Broken Isles, but this was the Legion zone. I mean, this is obviously Argus, the place where we defeated the Burning Legion and when we imprisoned Sargeras. They haven't told us all that much, but we do have a few facts. First of all, Argus, the World Soul, was put out of its misery, making this officially a dead planet, at least from this perspective. Despite Legion's defeat, this place is still super dangerous, and the best bet is the demons are still there in big numbers, even though they no longer follow Sargeras. As far as we know, there have been no rebuilding attempts or any type of a rebuilding process, and even Velen himself said he was glad to finally just get rid of this place and to move on from its history. So, it is almost certain that Argus is just going to remain as a dead planet without any type of a purpose, and I honestly doubt anyone is gonna be going back to Argus or trying to be living there anytime soon. Thank you for watching. Check out the new Light Titan that Blizzard just introduced by clicking on the screen, and check out Daron's Academy for videos of real-world history. See you next time.